you and I. It sounds better to me to say you and me, but I think it's really you and I. And 2 years, a group of young adults that represent Grupo Salto. And Grupo Salto was established in 2005 to support Spanish-speaking families that are impacted by autism in the Chicago area. Initially and continuing in partnership with the University of Illinois Chicago, Developmental Disabilities Family Clinic, and UIC's Department of Disability and Human Development, which is the Institute of Disability and Human Development. So IDHD, I'm happy to say, they are a TAP partner, as is the answering. As is Grupo Salto itself. They have monthly meetings that offer parents an opportunity to engage with guest speakers or experts in fields related to disability, while children with disabilities and their neurotypical siblings participate in a variety of enrichment programs. Grupo Salto really came about in 2013 because the first cohort of children became young adults, and those of us in the autism field really point out that children have a bad habit of becoming adults, and that's why there's a need for adult services. They were motivated, accomplished individuals. They're eager to add a new dimension to Grupo Salto. So they formed the 2-year group. It's a peer mentorship group for adolescents and adults with autism and other disabilities. They welcome their similarly aged neurotypical siblings, family members, and other allies. The participants connect by discussing identity, self-advocacy, and power as they relate to autism. They also raise awareness of autism in the Chicago area communities through informative presentations. Majority of participants are native Spanish-speaking Latino and Latina, and they're able to powerfully connect with Spanish-speaking immigrant audiences. They've created a platform for self-advocacy to take control of dialogues related to autism. The key piece of self-advocacy is taking control of that discussion. To prepare for this forum, the group, working with their neurotypical siblings, used 2 guiding questions, and they're going to talk about their idea of a dream library. First, how can libraries be places where people with autism can learn well? Secondly, how can they be places for community members to learn about autism? And the 2-year members, I'll just ask them to wave or acknowledge as I give their names. Arturo Caprara, Carlos Espinosa, Philip Marsh, Virginia Murray, Carlos Avalle, David Avalle, and Jose Avalle, who I haven't seen here today, who works with TAP as an advisor for this group. Mario Avalle is the coordinator, and Laura Brown, sitting over there behind the computer, is the organizer. So welcome, Grupo Salto.
Just want to make a difference between Grupo Salto and the family clinic. The reason we have Grupo Salto is because it came out of a family clinic when we started having so many families coming and having children with autism, and they had no place to go. We started, I'm a co-founder, and the main person that really helped us was Dr. Mangi, Dr. Elena Mangi. And we started with a couple of families. Right now, with the support of the Latino staff at the family clinic, we have over 550 families listed. That's how Grupo Salto started. After that, most of these young men started with Grupo Salto when they were little, and one of the ideas is for them to mentor the little ones, and having done several presentations in schools and in the community based on their experiences, especially the bullying. That's one of the main areas that they tried to study, and what they found is that the reason why there's so many bullying in school in terms of for children with autism is because they have no idea about what autism is. So they try to do autism awareness. For the group,
first, but looks like we're going up first. So, with that said, my name's David Ovalle, and I'm a member of DUEO. I'm a twin brother of Carlos Ovalle. We're turning 27 next month, and we're also members of DUEO. We've been part of the Grupo Salto since its inception.
My name is Arturo Cabral and I'm 24 years old and I've been with this Grupo Salto since all my life, but I've been with this DUEO since the beginning of September 2013.
Yes, my name is Philip Marsh and I've been a member of Grupo Salto since 2010. I started assisting in their music program and since September 2013, like Arturo, I've been a member of our 2EO program.
My name is Carlo D. I'm 25 years old, and I've been at Grupo Salto since the beginning of 2003 as a recurring member. And for the 2EO program, I have been here and there since 2013.
My name is Virginia, and I started coming to Salto like 10 years ago.
DUEO is a support group that connects adults and teenagers from autism, their siblings and their friends. We started since 2013. And since then, many of us members just grown a huge connection towards each other. According to the first image that you might see from there, at the front of the building of the UIC's Developmental Disabilities Research Center, and at the second picture over there, that's where we made a presentation at a community at. At St. John's at Joliet. Pardon me for that. Our goal is to raise awareness about autism spectrum disorder by telling our stories about Chicago, which we are doing right now. And it's an organization that's associated with Grupo Salto, which is according to the logo, the organization just comes by every Thursday, every Saturday for the third week of each month.
So, my name is Arturo, my name is Arturo Cabral and I'm 24 years old. At the age of 4, I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4 on August 1997. As I got older, I always wondered, why do I feel different, or why am I different than everybody else? And I told my mom, and my mom said, you are different, but your own special way. As I got older, I began to understand more about autism. And just recently, about a year and a half ago, I completed a chef training program at Chinese American Service League at Chinatown, Chicago. And so as you can see the pictures, those are my hobbies. I enjoy cartoons, Japanese anime, sports, wrestling, and lots of scary movies too. But my future goal is to be a chef and own my own restaurant.
Well, as I said before, my name is Philip Marsh, and as you can see from my photo in the slide, I like to play the guitar, and I've been doing it for 15 years. And each Monday evening, myself and some of the other people from work, my restaurant at Portillo's, go get together and go see a movie. We just saw the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy, and this Monday we're seeing King Arthur, which just premiered last night. I've been involved in the scouting program as a whole since September of 1992, and on May 4th, 2004, I earned the rank of Eagle Scout. In the fall of 2005, I became a full-time undergraduate student in College of DuPage in the Chicago suburb of Glen Ellen, Illinois. I pursued a degree of library and information technology and graduated in May 2008. And in the fall of 2008, I enrolled at the University of Illinois at Chicago as a full-time undergraduate student and graduated on Sunday, May 8th of 2011 with a bachelor's in history. And from the fall of 13 until next summer, I have been pursuing an accounting degree at College of DuPage. I applied for a couple of jobs as a librarian after I earned the associate's degree. I had a couple of interviews, but since September of 2013, I began working at Portillo's. And the last comment on the slide is that I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3, but I was not told until I was 15 years old. And I was somewhat surprised by the news.
Okay, a little bit about me. I just graduated from UIC on Sunday. I have 2 jobs. I still work at Salto with support staff, and I used to work at a sushi restaurant. Now I want a job, but with my degree. And so I was diagnosed with autism when I was 10, and after that I started getting supports. I also like reading a lot.
So my name is Carl G. I just recently graduated about a year ago from Lewis University with an aviation administration degree. I've been working for the past 2 years in both of Chicago's airports, both Midway and O'Hare, for 2 major Mexican airlines such as Aeromexico and Volaris. My hopes and dreams is to hopefully become an aircraft pilot. And I do enjoy traveling and driving to new places, as well as at the age of 6, I was diagnosed with autism, but I didn't find out till I was 14 when I was in high school.
Okay, first of all, you have to excuse what the images and it doesn't come out right from each of these slides. They kind of know better when practice or something, but I think we can try to manage without for a little bit. So anyway, second of all, that's probably not my best picture right up to the questions. And the third, give us more there. Okay, which one's I could have sworn we're needing the blood transfer from there to right over there where it has our cartoon stuff right there because we own our YouTube channel. It was a show with the building commentary like I don't know if you actually heard of the group called Game Rooms or something, but we just want to try to be famous over there. It's our gaming channel. But enough about that. Let's tell you about since 2002 we've been diagnosed with we haven't learned that we've been diagnosed with autism until our mother told us that that we are when we're age 12. It's kind of a wonder that why we are in special ed. We're attending Zapata Academy or grammar school at the time. We also attended Walter Payton College Prep at our high school, and then taking a few city colleges in Chicago. They were here for fine arts. She graduated. And well, there was a bunch of times that thanks for applying every time you graduate. But anyway, those are funny factors that in the midway of our college years, we stopped taking accommodation that we were learning taking notes of our own. What else? You gotta talk about your practice. Well, besides, we're both actually. I'm also a dancer. Besides being in Grupo Salto and for volunteering work, I'm also a dancer for the Mexican folklore dance company who's run by my father. And he was a dancer too, but he retired since 2008. But however, I just taken a position as a cameraman for occasional performances. And as you can see, contrary of most of kids who are diagnosed with autism, we also have high functioning that we could able to adapt to any other learning curves faster. Right now, we're taking entrepreneurship training program just to own our own business. That we're looking to open our heat press shop. That's not only that will sell merchandise based on our YouTube channel, but we also sell custom T-shirts. For like anyone who wants to commission us to make T-shirts that they want us to make, we give it to them. But we also going to make a T-shirt that's that we associate with Grupo Salto and even the Mexican folklore dance company in Chicago.
So here's an outline for the presentation. First, we're going to define what ASD is to you, then we're going to explore the purpose of the library, show you cool pictures of our dream libraries, our experiences at libraries, and then we'll have Q&A. So defining ASD, which is the correct term for autism. So it is a neurologically based developmental disorder, which means it's based in the brain and the nervous system. It has both genetic and environmental components, but we don't know what the exact causes are. Interaction effect. Spectrum disorder means symptoms of ASD vary widely across. Here's the DSM, which is a professional book to diagnose. Deficit in social emotional reciprocity, so you don't understand the feeling, reciprocate something you should be showing. Deficits in nonverbal communication, you don't understand body language. Another is restricted repetitive behaviors of interest or activities. For example, you repeat things a lot, or you use objects in a certain way, like here you have them all lined up. You insist on sameness, you're not flexible to changes in your routine. Yeah, it's also weird, like how focused you are. Another is hyper or hyporeactivity, so you over or underreact to sensory information. Now here are 4 interventions. You don't necessarily need all 4 in autism. One is behavior programs, medications, education and learning, and other treatment and therapy. So special education, obviously if you learn slower, you learn differently. Speech therapy, it's not just physically to talk. Sometimes people can't talk and they learn other ways to communicate. And occupational therapy for sensory and motor deficits.
And now we're going to explore the main purposes of a library. First of all, a library is a place to ensure that people are learning, which can happen in many different ways. When I was growing up, there were a lot more books. Now people learn a lot more through the computers with the way technology is expanding. It also is a place to connect people to knowledge. And as I just said, I prefer doing that through computers, and Some people still prefer getting it through books. And the third purpose of a library is to have fun.
Your props to Virginia that you wanted to present this video. That's nice.
So it comes down to two questions in libraries. The first is, how can a library be a space that allows people with autism to learn well? And the other question is, how can community members learn about autism within a library?
So me and David, we named our dream library called Mall Library.
We had a group of other members of DBO they're basically like new members. We kind of like the thought of how can we make the libraries be more appealing to people with autism. Probably make it more comfortable than what they usually see for libraries. So we just want to make the library maybe more fun than it's ever before, while just keeping it and keeping the books samples. Where you can still rent stuff. But we also wanted to add make it like your mall, because our ideal library should have ultra high-speed Wi-Fi.
Our dream library, not only we can rent out books, but we can also rent out comic books, and as you can see the blue symbol, we have a very strong Wi-Fi, and to connect all of your devices, your smartphones, laptops, or any electronic devices that you have. And we also have a food court, which our favorite, we picked Wendy's, because we want to have a food court in our library.
Loving that Frosty. But we also want to like the library to make it like you're at a video local rental store, or like a Blockbuster, where you can like run a video as well. Just watching some classics like Jurassic Park.
So that's how me and David we created our dream library, the Mall Library.
It should be an ideal place. It also should be an ideal place for young adults to socialize there too, because it's kind of both like it's mostly a library, but it's also kind of like a mall anyway. Which is why we call it the Mall Library.
Yeah, all right, so in March of 2017, we designed the Magical Mind Library.
It was similar to what David and just did, and we just had to go for the activity where
typical library stuff, but what makes our library like awesome and better than the mall one is that we have we have a garden and we have ponds, and we also address like sensory and communication needs of ASD. Like they have a self checkout and they have a quiet reading area and a pantry room.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Like she said on our first floor, it's what you would expect to find in a library: self-checkout, registration desk, non-fiction, a section for comic books.
We also just like to include the video rental section. Exactly what David said in the previous slide.
Hello, my name is Laura. I am a sibling in the group. Arturo, matching glasses, matching family. We are going to tell you a little bit more about their experiences at libraries, and we thought it might be fun for you to hear a conversation with these guiding questions. As background context, a majority of us are of Latino descent, children of Mexican immigrants. Our families reside in predominantly immigrant neighborhoods in Chicago on the west side. Lower socioeconomic status, working class families. So you can see the availability of resources as we have the conversation. Number one, not every question will be for everyone. We've practiced, so we've planned who's going to answer what. Number one, do you think people in your community would want to visit your dream library? David?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Philip, how do you feel about your library?
Well, I think it really depends on if they have autism or not. And if they have autism and think they'll benefit, then I would think so.
Number two, during your life, when have you visited the library most often? And what were your favorite books or things to borrow? So for example, did you go to the library a lot when you were a little kid? Or do you go a lot to the library now as an adult? Twins?
We started going to libraries, not a public library, but actually a library that comes from our school. They'll be supplies that when we were young. As you can see, we do have much interest on literature, and one of the first few books we actually read that they were about wildlife, like bugs and sometimes sea life. But we also very fond of reading books about dinosaurs.
Great. Virginia?
I used to go to the library a lot in undergrad because there was like a quiet place where you can do your work. And when I was a kid, I used to go more often too. I just like, as long as the library's quiet, I like going. But if it's not quiet enough for me, then like forget libraries. I won't go.
Arturo?
When I was little, I used to go to library, but as I got older, I haven't been to the library ever since. But now for the past 3 years, after already grown up, I've been going to my public library ever since. Like every 3 or 4 weeks, I return one, or I would put on hold for my new books, and when they're ready to pick up, then I pick it up.
You want to answer?
Sure. I used to go to the library when I was a little kid and go on their computers. I've been going back there again. Now I do things related to the class I'm taking at College of DuPage.
So, number three, has the library ever helped your personal or professional well-being? So has the library ever made you feel good as a person, or has it ever helped you with your job or your career?
The library did make me feel good a lot because I needed a quiet place and I could read there and a lot of stuff I liked.
It actually does given us more personal satisfaction. In fact, it made us appreciate much more great literature, read more good knowledge, and learn some different animals and stuff. Since then, I remember reading about this book called The Wind and Willows. You know, Mr. Toad just steal a motor car.
Carlos?
I actually did feel pretty confident and more knowledgeable, especially after reading the book, after checking them out growing up. I even remember cases of growing up in the library. I used to read every aviation book and every airplane book they had in my library I could find.
Arturo?
It made me feel good because now, like, when I got older, I decided, since I can't afford to buy books either online or Amazon, I decided if they have the same title, depending which book that I want on the library, then I checked it out. And the best part during the summer is that they have a really nice air conditioner. Sometimes I even stay more than an hour.
Next question. At your library, are there resources or programming about autism?
In all honesty, from both libraries that we've ever been into, from the Leon Sabata Academy and Walter Beaton, not really. Because that's like it before that we discovered that we have autism, and even after. But maybe they might even have some of the sections that we probably overlooked. Of course, we probably aware that there are probably other libraries out there that actually have books about autism.
Well, I don't know about the College of DuPage library, so I can't comment on that. The Helen Plum Library in Lombard, I don't know about events, but I do know it has a collection of books that you can find in both the children and adult section, and you can find a list of the titles online through their website.
Number 5. What do you think is missing from your library? For those that go to the library.
I think, like in the example of my library in the Hilly Park neighborhood of Chicago, I feel like they could integrate a little more on the technologies. For example, as I can see it as an example of a normal library.
Number 6. Can you describe a challenge or negative experience related to a library? Carlos?
Well, growing up in my neighborhood in Chicago, I had these friends in my family who regularly went to the library almost every single day because our friend had nothing much else to do during the summer, and he went every day to use a computer. And one day he was scolded by the security guard in the library that he wasn't really welcome there. Not officially banning him, but it did question my ideas on libraries, and ever since I've been going to other neighborhoods, libraries such as in the east side and the clearing neighborhoods of Chicago.
For almost a couple of years now, the same librarian, she has like a very bad attitude, not towards me, but she has these kind of grouchy faces, and sometimes some of the kids are afraid to go in the line, check out their books, and because she works in the front desk, and sometimes what can I do to make her stop acting like that, or if she does not, and she does not do a very good job. but I think they need to be trained more.
Yeah, so I think both points touch very important aspects of our communities. I failed to mention, but Philip lives in the suburbs of Chicago, a predominantly white community, well-funded. He loves his library. He's always been going to it. And in the conversations that we've had, the issue of accessibility comes up, right? So if you have people who might be unemployed or who might not have parents at home to be safe alone at home, like they need somewhere to be. And if you have an off-putting disposition, it could turn other people off. Like Carlos wasn't even the person impacted by it, but he heard about this and his perception about his library changed. And Arturo is saying that there's a communication issue, and the librarian might not be on their radar, that she's being a little intimidating to him. And who knows, is it because of her personality or is it because of autism? But I think that with more training related to autism and communication and the diverse needs, that could be addressed. And number 7, do you have any tips for the library staff who might serve or interact with adults with autism?
Just take your time, if any of people was ASD or was autism, they want to talk to you or the staff, just be more knowledgeable and, sometimes you can have great friendship with the staff and the other people with ASD.
Be patient and examine how much time they can respond so that you can get able to compromise with it.
I would say just be aware of how severe their level of autism is, because some people need a lot more help than others.
I would say be more welcoming, especially back in my experience when I used to volunteer at my neighborhood library during my high school years. If one librarian or library staff can be just as loyal, everywhere else should be the same way too.
So now we have question and answer for everyone.
The questions for the panel?
This may be a little personal, so if you don't want to answer, I completely understand. But I know that a few of you all mentioned that you were diagnosed at an early age, but you weren't knowledgeable about that until you were a teenager. And I'm just wondering how you reacted to that news, and if you could have had that changed so that you would have been more aware at a younger age, if you would have preferred that. Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I was a little surprised. I think I would have liked to have known sometime earlier to understand why I was receiving speech therapy through Easter seals and special education until 8th grade when I graduated.
Well, when I was a teenager, and then my parents told me that I have autism, and I was kind of a little bit sad, and I cried if I told them why am I different, and when they told me, I cried more. But after I took time, to understand what it means or what is autism, I feel kind of a little bit more happier now, because now I know why am I different. But if my mom would have told me earlier, maybe I wouldn't understand, because back then I was socialized, but I didn't understand the sense of the reality.
I was gonna say it kind of, in a way, I felt kind of special based on the treatments I've got and the services I've gotten. But until I found out, I finally found, I was able to clear a little bit more of my head of, after knowing what I have. Even despite all the special treatment, and I wish I could, yeah, I mean, it would have been extra great if I knew sooner, so I could understand it for a longer period of time. But as long as I know about it, it's all good.
Other questions? Just from a different perspective, I want to say something related to that question. And their comments. We've heard from other presenters over the past 2 days about the importance of not making assumptions. Don't assume what individuals need. Don't assume what condition they may or may not have. And I saw issues and assumptions related to children with cancer from the opportunity to work at St. Jude Research Hospital for a while. And parents typically don't want to tell their children they have cancer, especially if it's serious, because they don't know how they'll react. And I can say, although this is not statistically valid because it's anecdotal, every child reacted better to finding out that they had cancer than their parents did to finding out that they had cancer. Children are much more resilient and much more understanding than we often give them credit for. So the decision of what to tell and when is obviously a personal decision for each family, but I think it's important to realize that when we make these decisions without considering the individual, we're making assumptions about what they want to know and what they should know and what their ability to respond is. Any other questions from the panel? Okay, thank you all. Oh, sorry.
Just curious, are any of you thinking of pursuing careers in librarianship?
Well, as I've said, I've applied to a few positions in libraries.
I used to be a volunteer at my neighborhood library in high school.
Okay, thank you to you.